Wow. Wow. Author Renee Decamilis. Wow. Happy Literacy Day to you. I feel humbled
Thank
to see
you.
you on the
Happy
Book Show
Literacy Day to
podcast.
you. Thank you for having me.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Well, it's an honor to have an amazing soul like you. And on behalf of a global community, I am very humble.
And I am very thankful to be here with you.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast, the one student, one book, one author mantra, the Global Reader Circle, the ultimate podcast designed to use authorinius DeCamillis, good office as an author to inspire and motivate a lifelong learner and a committed reader out of every global person. On behalf of our global community and family, Autorini, I am humbled, very humbled to have you on this amazing day.
And I'm happy to be here.
Wow. So I'd like you to tell us about you. Tell us about yourself.
About me, well, I am an indie horror author and freelance editor based in the United States, in the state of Maine. And I'm also a singer, songwriter, and musician, have been since I was a kid. And I am the author of my debut novel, just came out in July, and it's titled Chisel the Bone. And that is also the sequel to my debut novella, The Bone Cutters. And I also have a couple other novels in the works. I have a novel coming out next year titled Try Not to Die by Your
Wow.
Own Hand. It deals with the subject of
Wow.
mental illness and suicide. And I have a number of
Wow.
short stories out there as
Wow.
well.
Amazing. Amazing. Wow. You are a mental health expert. That's amazing. You're solving our awesome
Thank you.
problems.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your journey into this uh greatest investment of being a lifelong learner. When did you
Okay.
discover that you are a book lover, a committed reader? When was it? When was the time you choose to be an intentional reader? Tell us about your reading lifestyle.
Ever since I was a kid, my mom read to me all the time. My mom loved books, and she also, when I was
Wow,
very young, she worked as a librarian at the high school
wow,
library, and I'd often go to
wow.
work with her and just sit in the aisles and read books and devour as much as I could. And I've carried that on
Hmm.
into my adulthood with me. I read as much as I can. I love
Wow,
to learn. It's like it's a healthy
wow,
addiction.
wow, wow. Amazing. Well, it's International Literacy Day, and for you who has been a lifelong learner and a committed reader, I like to ask you, can you imagine navigating this world without education, without reading, without writing?
No.
What would you imagine this world without all of this thing we do?
I can't imagine it. I just can't. Things would not be, I don't know. I don't want to imagine it. Um, I can't. I can't even wrap my head around the idea of not being able to read. I
Wow.
mean, it's
Well,
freedom.
it
It's
seems,
really.
yeah, yeah, but it seems there are people who don't have access to books. There are people who don't know how to
Mhm.
read. There are people who don't know how to write. And let's
Yes,
not forget that in the 21st century today, the barriers has been
right.
broken and the playing ground has been flattened. So we can imagine that in today's world, there are still people who do not have access to education, to books, and to
Hmm.
being a lifelong learner.
Right. I mean, people have fought and risked their lives to learn how to read, and it's very important.
Yeah,
And I feel for those people who don't have access to that. You know, I wish I could help every single one of them learn how to read.
Well, it's possible. It's possible. That's why you're an
Yes,
author. And I think
yes.
I think you would have to tell us about your journey into authorhood. What problems are you trying to solve? I like to know.
I don't really think of it as me trying to solve problems, but I guess in a way it kind of is. I tend to work, you know, I'm a horror author, so when I write, I'm working through facing my own fears. And in doing that, I hope that I can help other people face their fears and maybe learn something
Mm,
about things maybe they haven't experienced, or maybe things they have experienced
mm.
and they don't know how to deal with it. They might learn, you know, different ways of thinking and how to deal with different things going on in their life that they never thought of before. And it might even
Wow.
just let people know
Wow.
that they're not alone in the troubles that they're dealing with, and that there are ways to get out of that.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I think that for you who has been blessed to be born into this home where reading was the order of the day, having mom who
Mm.
was a librarian, I feel that you have an extra advantage. That's why you're a musician and an author too, a writer.
Yes.
So I see Renee Decamilis as one big minister so far humanity is concerned. So I like you to
Mhm.
share your experience as a significant reader. What has reading helped you evolve? As in, what does it help you accomplish? What kind of a person are you saying you are because of your reading lifestyle? Let's talk about the significance of staying a lifelong learner for you.
Well, it's helped me learn about well, I grew up in a small town, very small town. So right from the beginning, it helped me learn about a lot of different places in the world and a lot of different people who inhabit those different places and different things that people deal with in different areas of the world, or just people who have grown up differently or find themselves in different situations. And it's also helped me notice that there are a lot of similarities between people
Mm,
all over the place. There are differences, but
mm.
there are a lot of similarities. And
Like
what have I?
you
I've learned.
realize that the common the common laws the community laws with the common laws.
Yes,
My,
and
my
I've just
community
learned.
will
So I've
say
learned.
thou shalt not kill, and your community will also say thou shalt not kill. I think we're one people. Go on, Otto DeCamillis, go on.
Well, there's just so much I have learned. I don't know really how to nail it down to specifics. I've learned about history through, and actually, I find learning about history is much more interesting by learning it through literature of people who wrote during different time periods. And it's the same with learning about different
Mm,
cultures. I think it's better to learn different cultures and about different people in the world by reading the work of the people, the everyday people, not learning it through history books, but learning it through the stories that different people write, whether it's fiction, biographies, autobiographies, historical accounts. That's what I find the truth is in that more than in the actual history books or biography books or
wow,
books that, you know, a lot of the books that they
wow,
might consider educational, you know. I think you can find a lot more through stories.
wow, amazing, amazing. Well, let's talk about your books. Let's talk about your books. What
Sure.
inspired you to write your Facebook, and where do you think Renee DeCamillis is headed? What's your next calf?
Well, what inspired me to write my first book? Well, I knew I wanted to write anyways, but what inspired the story is a lot of things I've dealt with in life. Because the idea of my story came from a nightmare, which of course, your dreams and your nightmares often have to do with what's going on in your life and what's going on in your mind at the time. And my books deal a lot with mental illness and drug addiction and drug abuse. And
Mm,
in
mm.
writing my books, it was a way for me to I kind of see writing as a form of therapy to help me work through problems that I
A
have in
therapy.
my life.
A
Yes,
therapy.
it's therapy.
A
Yes.
therapy. Wow. 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 Amazing. Amazing. Well, let's talk about your expertise in mental illness. I think it has become the order of the day that a greater number of people have thought about taking their own lives. Uh,
Yes.
I would ask you, what would you think about the idea of someone taking their life or even getting depressed, even with all the books in the world?
What do I think of? Well, I don't want anybody to take their own life. You don't know tomorrow, what tomorrow's going to bring. Um, and as bad as things can get, there's a way to get through it. You just have to find,
Mm,
you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have like this magic thing to say. Um, it's just there's always hope. There's always hope. You
yeah.
just got to fight through. Um, and just try your hardest to stay positive and hold hope that, okay, yes, this sucks. What I'm going through sucks. What's happening to me sucks. What's happening around me sucks, but I'm going to find a way to get through this. I have to find a way to get through this because life is a gift. I mean, life is a gift and you've got to do the best you can with what you've been given and what life has dealt you. You've got to do the best you can. It's all any of us can ever do. You just
Wow.
have to keep trying
Wow.
because every failure
Wow.
is a learning experience. And okay, oh, I keep failing. People can tend to get in that rut of a mindset of everything I touch just turns to crap. Everything I do goes wrong. Well, if you keep telling yourself that, it's going to keep happening. You've got to retrain your thinking and like, okay,
Mm,
everything I've done
mm,
so far has not worked. Then I have to do something different because the way
mm,
I've been doing things are not
mm,
working. So you have to reframe your thinking.
mm,
Like, how can I do things
mm,
differently to get a different outcome, to make things better? And it takes time and it
mm.
takes a lot of mental power and a lot of work.
Wow. Wow. If you're streaming this on International Literacy Day, we have an amazing author, Renee Decamilis, on our spotlight. And trust me, she is so amazing and so full of life. Well, you can't afford to miss this episode, this session. And trust me, you would have to share a link with your friends. You can afford to miss this one. The mind power. Well, Autorine de Carmelus, we get to this part of the show where you would have to name 10 books. I realized that you would become the books you read and the people you meet. I'm probably sure that you have 10 authors that have helped you shape this amazing life that you lead. And we're hoping that will share in your devouring. So you get to call 10 books or 10 authors, and you also get to tell us about the ones that really clicked for you, that really work wonders for you. I'm sure you're ready.
Okay, 10 books or 10 authors. Okay, it might be a jumble. So when I was a kid, one of the stories that really got me hooked into reading was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We read it, I think it was in second grade, and then we went on a field trip and saw a play performed on stage, and that just it hooked me. That hooked me into reading, and it hooked me into just wanting to devour more
Wow.
stories. And what made me
Wow.
became want to become a writer was the works of Edgar Allan Poe. his poetry as well as his short story work, and
Mm,
the works of some specific works, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson,
mm,
and The Bell Jar. I mean, speaking of depression and suicide, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath.
mm.
Um, and some also love Kurt Vonnegut. His writing deals with a lot of heavy topics that need to be discussed, and he's able to write them in an entertaining way, but a very by still making a very powerful statement. Um, and also Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. I absolutely love that
Mm.
novel. It's a werewolf novel, but it deals with about feeling like an outsider and an outcast, and not
Wow,
being accepted by the
wow,
people around you. And it's very emotionally strong. It's a phenomenal book. Another
wow.
one I like, I tend to like crime stories, and Controlled Burn by Scott Wolven is another one that sticks with me. His
Mm.
writing, I don't know how to describe it. It's just excellent. Also The Devil in Silver by Victor
Renee
LaValle.
Decamilis, Renee Decamilis, Renee Decamilis. You are just so amazing. With just three books to
Thank
go,
you.
with just three books to go, I like you to slow down. So I like you to take us into your
Oh, okay.
music career because it seems you have been singing these books as if they were songs recorded by you. So I like you to tell us what kind of a songwriter, what kind of a musician are you? I learned you're also a guitarist. I love what you do. You
Yes.
would pass for a room full of books.
Thank you. I've been playing music since I was a kid. I sang in chorus in school. I did school band where I played saxophone. I went to Berklee College of Music, where guitar was my principal instrument. But the kind of music, I like all kinds of music.
Mm,
The band I'm in right now, we write all our own music. It's all original. And it tends to be heavier. It's more like
wow.
metal-ish, punk-ish, but we have a wide variety of interests and we bring them all together. And with my songwriting, I like a lot of blues music. I love rhythm.
Wow.
With music, you feel it, music. I like to create music that makes you want to move.
Mm,
It makes you want to get up and just move,
mm,
whether it's
mm.
dance or tap your foot or, bang your head along with the rhythm. Um, yeah, I love rhythm and blues. I don't play it in my band, but it seeps in
Wow.
because I can't help it. I love it so
Wow.
much.
Wow.
And
Wow.
music too is
Wow.
like therapy to
Amazing.
me. If I'm
It's
not
like a
writing, and if I'm
therapy to
not,
you, just like
it
reading and
is.
writing. Oh.
Yes.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome, awesome. Well, I'd like you to tell us about your music lifestyle and your combination. What do you think is happening in your writing lifestyle, your reading lifestyle, and the music in you? I see a minister in your music, just like I'm also seeing a big ministry in your writings. Let's talk about the combinations.
Well, I write a lot about music a lot. A lot of my characters are musicians or at least music lovers in some way, or songs will seep into my music. And, I think I mentioned when I was a kid, my writing started as song lyrics and poetry. So I always hear musicality in the words that I'm
Wow,
writing. I just can't help it. And when you think of
wow.
telling stories, they started as an oral tradition anyway. And when you think of music and poetry, you want it to have a flow and a musicality because you remember it more because it incorporates more of your body and more of your mind because of the music
Mm,
that's
mm,
laced throughout it.
mm.
And a lot of people who read my work say that
Oh,
a lot of my writing, in the lines that I write, have a certain flow and rhythm that tells them that I am into music just by reading my fiction.
Wow. Wow. Well, if you're going to be streaming this on International Literacy Day, we've been very happy to have an amazing soul and mind, Rooney DeCamillis, on our spotlight. And trust me that you really can't afford to miss this episode. As a tradition, we'll be leaving our Amazon and our website on a podcast note so you can have easy access to Renee Decamilis and her music. So I get to this part of the show where she is naming 10 books, 10 amazing books that would stay with her. And with just 3 books to go, I like the Decamilis to tell us how she writes, her writing style. It seems that she tells stories with her poetry. What are you taking us to? Where are you? Where is this ministry headed?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
I,
What was
we
the
are
question
asking in the
again?
next curve. It seems it seems you're always telling stories with your poetry. So, what's your next curve? Where
Yes.
is this headed? The next story.
Where is it? Where is it headed? It's headed to more books and more songs. I don't want to stop creating.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Well, with just 3 books to go, author DeCamillis, I like to know the books that make you and keep you inspired as a musician. I'm sure I could get names, unique names. Go on with 3 books to go, author Rainy
Three in my list of
DeCamillis.
10. Um, I can't remember where I left
Yes.
off. What did I say? I think I was saying The Devil in Silver by Victor Laval. That was a huge inspiration for my books that are out there now for The Bone Cutters and Chisel the Bone, because his novel also takes
Wow.
place in a psychiatric hospital where one of my books takes place. And it's his writing is so vivid and his characters are just so real and believable and so varied. Like they each person is their own person and very distinct. That book really stays with me and inspired me a lot. Also, A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay is another book that really stays with me because um, it deals with mental illness versus demonic possession. And I find that a very,
Mm.
very interesting topic. So that book really that
Mm.
sticks with me. Um, what else? Another one. I love stories about hauntings and Wilding Hall
Oh.
by Elizabeth Hand is an excellent book. And it also deals with music because it's about a band that ends up
Mm.
staying in a haunted house.
Number
So
10, number 10, number 10.
number
Renee
10.
Decamilis. You've been very amazing. You've been doing so wonderful. You did a big
Thank you.
thing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Well, if you're streaming this, don't forget we are on to amazing author Renee Decamilis. And remember that you would become the books you read and the people you meet, and sometimes the songs you listen to.
Hmm.
Well, don't forget
Yes.
that Rainy DeCamillis promises she promises a whole lot of creativity, and I would just recommend her for every person who needs a therapy, who needs healing words. Well, Arturini, thank you very much for honoring our Ivy. I am so humbled on behalf of our global community.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor to be here with you.
Well, before I let you go, I want you to talk about your book.
Oh, sure. Um, yes, my debut novel came out in July. It's called Chisel the Bone, and it follows Dory, the main character, who has just been recently released from a psychiatric hospital, and that happened in book one, The Bone Cutters. And the troubles she dealt with in The Bone Cutters, she met a group of drug addicts who carve into themselves and get high off bone dust. And she was released for her safety from the psychiatric hospital, only to find out that those same group of drug addicts, the bone cutters, have found her and are still after her. And throughout the book, there are also crimes happening where people are getting assaulted and carved open and their bones are getting chiseled. And cemeteries all across
Mm.
the state of Maine are dealing with grave robberies where not only the valuables are being stolen from the graves, but also the bones of the deceased are going missing.
Mm.
And that is
Mm.
Chisel the Bone, my debut.
Cecil the
And there will
Bond.
be a third. There will be a third
Mm.
coming out.
Okay, tell us about the third one. Where is this headed? I think every person would want to know.
Well, the third one, it's not written yet. It's just a bunch of ideas, and it's the first. So far, I think I've written the first couple of chapters so far, in pieces. But the next one's going to take place. There's going to be a lot happening in prison. That will be a different setting for part of
Wow.
that book. Will be in prison. But I don't have the whole thing written yet, so
Wow.
I can't tell you what I don't know. It's going to be a surprise for me too.
Ah, well, you always tell us wonderful stories, and we are looking forward for you to bring this on. And trust me, anything from Renee Decamilis is worth a devouring.
Thank you.
Well, on behalf of our global audience, I'm saying a very big thank you. And I like you to leave your last words to one person who doesn't read the book. I love you to leave your last words to that person who is going through trauma at times, who is there to carve a niche for themselves, being an altar of authority on an happy and unique day like this. What would be your words to these people?
Find a way. Try to find a way to read because it's a great way to help you cope with your life. It's a great way to escape things that you're dealing with or just take a much needed break. And it's also a great way to learn and lift your spirits. And you can learn so much to
So, so Rainy, I think you would love to share with us a time or an occurrence from a book. I think we're trying to know a time or an event or an occurrence that something or an idea you read from a book had helped you solve a problem. Do you remember any time like that? Would you love to share with us? Yes, in real life time, an idea or something you read in a book that helped you significantly in reality. Author Renee Decamilis. Mm, mm, mm. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing this with us. I feel that you're one person that has learned so much from books because you offer healing words And I love to ask you, for our audience out there who'll be streaming this globally, what do you think would have happened to your life if you were not this lifelong learner, if you were not this committed reader? Who do you think you would have become? Because I see the possibility and I see nothing is impossible with Renee Decamilis. Mm. Mm. Everybody has a story. Mm. Well, the highlight or the spotlight. Reading, singing, writing is a therapy for Renee Decamilis. That's something you can learn from, and that's something you can invite your friend to also learn from. Decamilis, thank you very much for sharing this with us, and thank you very much for gracing this phenomenal at the Polka location of International Literacy Day. Well, on behalf of a global audience, I am Smart Stewart, Udo, the host. DeCamillis, thank you very much. Wow, on the occasion of International Literacy Day, we have been on to Rainy DeCamillis. Don't forget that you become the books you read and the people you meet. Don't forget that the Guardian Cross podcast community promised to help you foster and forge that report that helps you win with the people who love to see you soar and love to take you by your hands. And these people have a need for you to become a lifelong learner. These people believe that you have all the credibility in you to soar. These people shout out that impossible is nothing when you choose to become an intentional reader and a lifelong learner. So it's in a day like this that we celebrate all the authors, all the readers, and all the creatives who make it possible for the world to have peace through creativity and resolutions in books and keeping yourself educated, reading, writing, and connecting with people beyond foreign boundaries, showing results on a global scale. It doesn't matter where you are, the barriers have been broken, the playing ground have been flattened. So you're your way up. This is a special episode for all of us at Garden Cross, and I hope that you tell your friend about Rainy Decamilis and you tell your friend about the vision, the mission, and the causes of the Garden Cross podcast. The journey starts from one person, and that one person is you. Happy Literacy Day to everyone streaming globally, everybody. We are very happy to have everybody on the show. Thank you very much. Thank you. DeCamillis, thank you very much for honoring this great day for us. Thank you.